the global economy because the system will collapse of its own weight. It's designed to collapse. It's a system that has multi-generational length to it, and we're at the end. So if you know that's going to happen and you can't control it when it happens, wouldn't you like to have a system of control in place to prevent riots under the guise of variants and viruses to lock people down? Wouldn't you also like to not blame policymakers, the politicians, and the central bankers? Wouldn't you like to blame a virus? So that's what happened in 2020. And we're again facing another economic collapse because we're literally at the end of the global monetary system as we know it. And as you can see in the stock markets and the inflation that's raging, we're about to basically enter another collapse. And my belief is that this monkeypox arrived right on time. A lot of people said it's a joke because monkeypox doesn't transfer to humans quite as well. Malone put out a Substack saying it's looking like the current monkeypox that they've identified may have been engineered. So it looks like something's happened to the traditional monkeypox, and now there's evidence that it's been engineered, and that's starting to really worry my friends on Wall Street. I talked to a lot of different people, and the people who are awake and know what's going on, that's not the majority of Wall Street, it's only a select few, are now thinking, and I'm starting to think, there will be no elections in the fall. They will lock us down under the cover of the monkeypox virus. And at the very least, if we do have elections, it'll be mail-in ballots, and we won't be able to go to the ballots in person, or to the ballot boxes in person. That's my thesis. That's what I think the global.
All right. Shalom. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachach, Wadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, because those are the men that I learned this truth from through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. Yahweh is the true name of the God of Israel. Yahweh Shai is who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, but his one and only true name is Yahweh Shai. And pretty much what they're saying is in the fall of 2022, possibly there could be another lockdown, all right? Now, these different disease outbreaks that's been going on in the past 3 years up until this new one that's out now, they're using these disease outbreaks as a cover because there's an economic collapse going on within America, and not just America, globally, all right? There's a global economic collapse going on. So what they're trying to do is they're engineering all these different disease outbreaks, which is prophesied in the Bible, by the way, right? Matthew, the 24th chapter, 2nd Ezra 15 and the 16th chapter, talking about pestilences, because a pestilence is what? A disease outbreak. And over the years, there's been many pestilences that's been coming out. But the main pestilences, right, the main disease outbreaks is the what? The ABC 18, after the 18 come 19, right? And then you got this new one, the MP that's out, all right? So what they're doing is they put the disease outbreak on the forefront, through the media. They use the different celebrities to advertise the agenda, to pretty much bring it home. And what they do is they blame the global economic collapse on the disease outbreak, all right? So that you don't put the blame on the central bankers or the government, and mainly just the so-called white men, the Edomites, all right? Because they're the true descendants of Esau Edom, the so-called white man and his seed line. Man carries the seed, going back to the word sperm, which goes back to sperma, all right? So what could possibly happen in the fall here in America is that there could be another lockdown because of the MP disease outbreak, all right? But mainly what's going on behind the scenes, is a global economic collapse, all right? The downfall of society, which the Bible describes as the days of Jacob's trouble. So what happens during the economic collapse, right? An economic collapse is often combated with several waves of interventions and fiscal measures. Salaki, if I'm saying the word wrong. It says, for example, banks may close to curb withdrawals, and that's what you've been seeing over the years. You've seen that in Jamaica. You saw that in Greece, all right? You saw that in different parts of the world, to the point where cash is going to be completely worthless. That's why the central bankers are introducing what? The CBDC, which is a central bank digital currency, because this is a part of the agenda, all right, to have a global economic collapse, to bring in an entirely new system that's going to be digital, all right? And that one world currency that these central bankers, which are the Rothschilds, the Edomites, are going to come up with, that one world currency is going to be on the MOTB, all right, which is the NFC/RFID chip implant, according to the scriptures. And according to the Bible, as you can see here, it will be made mandatory, whether you believe it or not. It will be made mandatory. It will be law, all right, during this global economic collapse, when it reaches the height, of the collapse, when all hell breaks loose. And you will need this to buy and sell. Now, when it's made mandatory, if you believe in Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, you are supposed to deny this chip, even if it involves death, all right? But as it is written in the scriptures, the ones that's written in the Lamb's book of life, the elect of the nation of Israel, we won't take the chip. Lord will not be a part of the elect, because we understand the prophecy and we have been given the gift of faith from Yahweh through Yahweh Shai to believe and understand and to reject this chip, regardless of the dire situations we may be faced with. All right. So this is the agenda. All right. This is why you see all these disease outbreaks. This is why you see countries in shambles economically, because this is the agenda that they want to bring in. And when they bring it in, they're going to push this thing as a thing of convenience. But that's the deception part. All right. So as you can see here, it says new capital controls may be enforced. Billions could be pumped into the economy, right? Inflation, hyperinflation, through the banking system to cause what? That economic collapse. So this system is not designed to last forever. That's why we are experiencing the things that we are seeing and going through. All right. Because this system is about to crash so that they can bring in that digital cashless society. And over the years, they've been pushing that as a thing of convenience. They've been pushing that agenda. Use different alternative ways to pay for things outside of paying for using cash, using fiat currency, which is paper money, which is worthless. It's not backed by anything. It's not backed by gold, silver. It's backed by so-called trust, which is worthless. All right. So it says, and entire currencies may be revalued. That's what's been going on over the years. The dollar has been, devalued 96%, going back to the early 1900s. So it says, or even replace. This is why you see the implementation of the CBDC, the central bank digital currency, because you're seeing this agenda play out right in front of you. Like the book of Habakkuk 2 and 3 says, though it tarry, wait for it. These prophecies are speaking. You see it happening. So now let's go down. So it says, what are the 5 stages of an economic collapse? So I'm just getting to the point. The onset, counterattack, food, calamity, recovery. Let's see what else it says. All right. It says if the U.S. economy were to collapse, you would likely lose access to credit. Banks would close. Demand would outstrip supply of food, gas, and other necessities. If the collapse affected local governments and utilities, then water and electricity might no longer be available. And what they've been talking about over the summer, blackouts, all right? They've been saying that a possible EMP or a major cyber attack could happen, first and foremost on the banking system. See how everything is linking up? All right. Now let's go down. What are the signs of an economic collapse? It says worsening unemployment rate, which that's what we saw during this disease outbreak, 2019 to 2021, but they blamed it on the disease outbreak. Although America is going through an economic collapse. Jeremiah the 51st chapter, right? Babylon can't be healed. So they blaming it on these different diseases. But they're the ones that's causing this economic collapse. It was done by design. So it says, a worsening unemployment rate is usually a common sign of an impending economic depression. This is what America is going through, all right? You as an individual that have a job, this is what you're going through. This is what you're seeing. This is what you're living through. It says rising inflation. This is what's going on. It says declining property sales, increasing credit card and debt defaults. That's what's going on, all right? So let's get into the scriptures. So now, this is 1 Thessalonians 5:4, dealing with the day of the Lord, all right? Because before the Lord Yahushua comes back, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, there's certain prophecies that have to come to pass. That's mentioned, in Matthew the 24th chapter, 2nd Ezra the 9th chapter, all right? The scriptures that talk about the blood moons, Elijah coming before the great and terrible day of the Lord, which that's Abba Bivens, if you could receive it, and plenty of other scriptures. All right. So we've seen these things come to pass. Jacob's trouble has to happen, which is that global economic collapse. All right. And first and foremost, that MOTB has to be made mandatory throughout all countries. This is what's next. All right. And then the end all be all is the destruction of Babylon the Great by thermonuclear missiles, as prophesied in the scriptures. This is the end result of World War III. All right. 1 Thessalonians 5:4. Matter of fact, let me see. Let me start up. 1 Thessalonians 5 and I get to the point 3. For when they shall say peace and safety, right now people are under the illusion that everything is back to normal. You don't really have to wear a mask, but then you got to wear a mask, Now that gas prices is going up, now some of the buses is on free. Now they're making the buses free in order to combat the gas prices going up, because they know the average person, when they get paid, they just pretty much making enough to get by, They don't really have savings. All their money goes towards bills and taxes, right? So it says, when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction. Yeah, sudden destruction. Because you dumbasses, you trust in the government. You believe every word that you hear on the media, that everything is going to be all right. You're being comforted with lies. That's why the sudden destruction comes upon you, because you don't realize everything that's happening in the world today is in the Bible, all right? You don't understand that you're living through prophecy. So it says, cometh upon them. Who's the them? 2/3 of the nation of Israel, and the rest of you people that's deceived, that believe in the lies of your government, the propaganda that they push out. All right. You don't really understand what's going on behind the scenes, according to the scriptures. So it says, as travail upon a woman with child. When a woman gives birth, she's pretty much screaming in agony. All right. Which is a representation of America. All right. America and all these countries going through a global economic collapse, because it's happening in stages till it reaches its maximum point. So it says, and they shall not escape. You're not going to escape. Matter of fact, since I got that, let me bring out one of my favorites. This is Luke 21:34, because these precepts are direct. It says, and take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts, meaning your mind, be overcharged with sophroting. Sophroting is having consumed too much of one thing, mainly being referred to drinking. That's why it goes on to say, and drunkenness and the cares of this life, and so that day come upon you unawares. Yeah, because the cares of this life, which is nothing really but stress and going through the curses of Deuteronomy 20th chapter, it could take you out the truth. It could be a stumbling block. It could stop you from measuring the time diligently. So it says, for as a snare is a trap, shall it come on all them that dwell on the face of the whole earth. Jacob's trouble is going to be a worldwide thing, but mainly the focal point is here in America, which is Babylon the Great. Because when this disease outbreak came, it happened upon all the world. All right? When the recession comes, the main point is to look at Babylon the Great, but all these countries are going through a recession. When you look at the world debt clock, you know, you read about the different things, the different lockdowns that's happening. That's because of an economic collapse. All right? So it says, watch ye therefore and pray always. What are you watching for? The prophecies. You link up the current events, the things that's happening in the world, the things that you hear about on the news, and you link it up with the Bible prophecies. So you can understand the testimonies of the prophets, the visions that they had, the prophecies that's recorded in the scriptures, that now it's reality, it's coming to pass, as it is written. So it says, and pray always. You know, so us brothers that know the true name of the Lord and his son, Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, we're supposed to pray without ceasing. You know, pray without stopping. That's why we say, Lord willing. You know, Lord willing, we hope that we are part of the elect. Lord willing, we hope that Yahweh Yahweh Shai takes not the Holy Spirit away from us. You don't want to be in that spirit of being comfortable. All right. No matter how long you've been around or been in the truth, you know, the Lord could take the spirit from anybody. You know, so that's why we say, Lord willing. So it says that ye may be accounted worthy. What would make you worthy? All right. Ultimately, through the will of the Father and the Son, but your faith through your works. Your actions display what type of man you are in this truth. The content that you put out, you going out on the highways and byways, all right? Proving your faith to Yahweh and Yahweh Shai and not doing it for vainglory. So it says that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, these prophecies, Jacob's trouble, all right? The hour of temptation, the time period when they make that MOTB mandatory throughout all countries, right? Escaping the destruction by receiving salvation by Yahweh Shai, right? And to stand before the Son of Man. That's what we want. That's why we do what we do. In hopes of what? Receiving salvation. So now, let's go to this. Revelation chapter 3 and verse 10. Now, this is referring to the brothers, all right? The elect of the nation of Israel, the hopeful elect. It says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience. What's the word? Pushing forth the gospel, all right? The good news that the nation of Israel have not been forsaken by the Heavenly Father. And through his son, we have been given another chance, that we're under grace. Now there's a better, more established covenant through mercy, through Yahweh Shai and his sacrifice and blood. All right? So it says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, right? Proving our faith, Lord willing, we endure to the end, right? And then it says the word of my patience. Patience is synonymous with what? Suffering. Because while we waiting on these prophecies to come to pass, we're suffering. Some brothers been suffering longer than others. All right? So it says, I also will keep thee, meaning you. All right? I also will keep thee, because you was pushing forth the gospel, right? The correct doctrine. You've been warning the people through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, giving credit to Yahweh Yahweh Shai, right? It says, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. That's going to this word temptation.
Strong's G 3986, Pyrasmas. Pyrasmas.
Yep. And it says, an experiment, attempt, trial, proven. All right. So this is a trial that we have to go through. All right. The days of Jacob's trouble. All right. Going through this economic collapse. You know, the Lord is going to make sure we have everything we need, pursuant to Isaiah 65:13 on down. All right. But you might have to go days without food or water. You know, you might get thrown in a concentration camp. You might be separated from your family or brothers. All right. But just keep the faith unto the end. And what Yahweh Shai said, he said, I will give thee a crown of life. So it says a trial proven, right? You have to be proven. It says the trial made of you by the bodily condition, since the condition served as to the test, the love of the Galatians towards Paul. They give an example, which the Galatians were Israelites, right? Going down, it says the trial of a man's fidelity, integrity, virtue, consistency. All right, because the Lord, he puts us through a lot of trials and tribulations as men that's individually in his truth. And the hell that you go through, that's made for you. What one brother might go through, another brother might not go through. But we're all suffering together, as a brotherhood. All right? But through Yahweh Shai, he'll always make a way for us to escape our temptations, our trials, our tribulations, the hell that we catch. All right? Because he's the one that put it upon us. So it says, an enticement to sin. That's why the scriptures call it the hour of temptation. Because what's being tempted? Your flesh. All right? Because remember, when they make the MOTB mandatory, you're not going to be able to buy or sell. You're not going to be able to have that liberty to just step inside of a store and pay with a currency. Because currencies is going to be done away with. The one world currency that they coming out with is going to be on this chip. And in order for you to participate in society when this time period comes, you have to serve Satan and his physical counterpart, the so-called white man, by taking his chip, which in return, you would be denying Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. All right? So it says, an enticement to sin, temptation, whether arising from the desires or from the outward circumstances. What's the outward circumstances? The fact that you won't be able to buy or sell. All right? It says, and you won't be able to work. You will be a complete outcast to society if you don't have this chip. So it says, an eternal temptation to sin, right? Because you might be hungry, you might not have no water. It says, of the temptation by which the devil sought to divert Yahweh Shai, the Messiah, from his divine errand. All right? And we already know, that story. I believe that's Matthew, the 4th chapter. But Yahweh Shai, he came to do the will of the Father. And the same with us. All right? It says, of the condition of things. What's the condition of things? That global economic collapse. All right? The downfall of society. It says, of the condition of things, or a mental state by which we are enticed to sin. You're going to be enticed to sin. Based off of what? The downfall of society. All right? And then the solution is going to be, take this chip and everything is going to be all right. You'll be able to eat again. You'll be able to go in the store, Just make me your God forever. That's what the so-called white man's solution is going to be. All right? So it says, by which we are enticed to sin or to a lapse from the faith and holiness. That's the point that I'm saying. Because in order for you to participate in this digital cashless society, which is the end game of the NWO, you're going to have to reject Yahweh and Yahweh Shai as being Israelites. So the so-called white man, he wants you to worship him as a God on earth. All right? That's what he wants. And the ultimate way to do that is by taking this chip when it's made mandatory. And the ones of you that already, you took that JAB, you're definitely going to take this. When your jobs is on the line, all right? When the money that you have in the bank, you don't want to lose that because you're going to have to transfer that to the chip. You're going to be in trouble. You're going to take that. Why? Because of a lack of faith. That's why the scriptures say in Ephesians 2:8, faith is a gift from the Most High through his Son. So now let's keep going. Yup, temptation, i.e. trail of God by men, rebellion against the Most High, by which his power and justice are, as it were, put to the proof and challenged to show themselves. So we're going to have to prove our faith during this time, just like how we're proving our faith now. But the difference between the elect, the Israelites that believe according to the scriptures, we doing the will of the Most High. And we have faith and confidence in Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. So we believe and we know, according to the scriptures, as it is written, we're going to eat, we're going to drink, our families is going to be all right. We're going to be good in this time to come. But you unbelievers that rejected the words of the Lord by rejecting the prophets, all right, the ones of you that get this chip, you're going to die a horrible ass death, and I can't wait to see that. Now let's go back. Revelation 3:10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. And the hour of temptation, like I said, is a time period when they make this chip mandatory throughout all countries. It says, which shall come upon all the world. All right, going back to the Greek word oikoumene, talking about the whole entire planet Earth. So the whole entire planet Earth is going to go through a global economic collapse or a global recession. All right, and the solution is going to be to make that chip mandatory. Take the chip, participate in this new form of buying and selling. It says to try them that dwell upon the earth. So the Lord is going to send Jacob's trouble in the hour of temptation on the earth in order for what? The elect to prove themselves to Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. And that's what you come in this truth for, to prove yourself as an individual to Yahweh and Yahweh Shai by doing what he said, pushing forth the gospel. All right. This is Daniel 12:1, and this is dealing with what? The time of the end, which we're living in right now. And at that time, we almost in that time, right? And at that time shall Michael, which Michael is one of the archangels, and he's the second in command under Yahweh Shai, stand up. The great prince which standeth for the children of thy people. Who is the Lord's people? The people or the nation that he made the covenants with, which is who? The nation of Israel. The so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, but more importantly, the elect, the believers, the remnant, right? And there shall be a time of trouble, right? Jacob's trouble, such as never was since there was a nation even to that same time. So the days of Jacob's trouble, all right, this global economic collapse, this is going to be far worse than anything that's ever happened in history, period, right? It says, and at that time, thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book, which is the elect of the nation of Israel, all right? So those are the only ones that's going to survive Jacob's trouble. That's going to deny the MOTB, even if that involves death. All right? Let's read this. Jeremiah 30:5. It says, for thus saith the Lord, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Because all these economies, mainly America, Babylon the Great, these economies is not going to be fixed. This system is designed to collapse. They want to bring in a cashless digital society that they can monitor all the transactions. They can monitor your whereabouts. They can know your thoughts. All right? They can know everything about you. They want to play the role of the Most High on earth. All right? That's the agenda of these so-called white people, these central bankers, which are Edomites, beginning with the Rothschilds on down. This is their goal. All right? So it says, for thus saith the Lord, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. None of these economies is getting better. All right. It's going to get worse up until the point where martial law is going to be implemented and the whole system is just going to collapse. Your status in society, whether you're rich or poor, is going to be done away with. Everybody going to be on the same level. All right. It says, ask ye now and see whether a man do travail with child. And we know men don't travail with child, but the times to come, losing their financial status. All right. You have people that went to school. They got good jobs. None of that shit is going to matter in these times to come. So people are going to be afraid. They're going to be panicking. They're going to be screaming. These feminist women, they have OnlyFans. They make money off of these simp men. All right. They make money off of Instagram. They just make money off of their beauty because this society puts women on a pedestal. All that is going to be done away with. All right. It says, wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness, meaning feeble and weak. So all these people in society, all right? Especially the unfaithful. You're going to die in your unfaithfulness. Why? Because you lived your whole life trying to chase a dream, the American dream, but eventually what happens with a dream? You got to wake up. And that's going to be the harsh reality that you people going to go through. A global economic collapse where you lose everything that you have when everybody's equal. Nobody's not better than nobody. It says, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. So this economic collapse, this global economic collapse in the form of Jacob's trouble, this is going to beat out any type of atrocities that's happened in history. This is going to be the worst event ever to take place. Worse than slavery, worse than the Trail of Tears, worse than anything. So it says, it is even a time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Which is who? The elect of the nation of Israel. Because we glorified the Lord. All right? While the world rejected us, while the world rejected us, we still glorified the Lord through the trials and tribulations, proving our faith. This is 2nd Ezra 15. I just want to get to the point. 2nd Ezra 15 and 15. It says, for the sword, right? The sword is a killing instrument, but ultimately it's talking about martial law, and their destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another. So you're going to have people betraying one another and swords in their hands. You're going to have, best friends betraying each other, family betraying each other, right? Neighbors turning on one another. For there shall be sedition, right? Sedition or uprising against the government, aka civil war, among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So people, after a while, catching so much hell, losing everything that they worked so hard to get, whether it's going to college, the studying, whatever the hell they had to do, Hollywood, whatever they had to do to make money and get to the top status where they at now, they're going to lose all that. So they're going to lose faith in the government because they try to do everything right, but it still failed them at the end of the day. So it says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. So martial law is going to be implemented because, as you can see now, crime is going up and it's only going to get worse. Gun sales is going to go up. Things are getting worse. It's not getting better. It says, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. Yeah, you people reject the Heavenly Father's law, statutes, and commandments. You wanted to live a do as thou will lifestyle. That's pride in the eyes of the Heavenly Father. And he hates that. That's why he's sending Jacob's trouble. All right? So it says, the houses shall be destroyed and men shall be afraid. That's what's going to happen. Martial law is going to be implemented. And then you got these different agendas. Project Megiddo, the King Appr plan, Rex 84. And these different agendas involve what? The extermination of you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, which are the Israelites. All right? And you little militia groups, you got your guns. Martial law, the army is going to take over the government and they're going to kill you people. That's what's going to happen. So it says, a man shall have no pity on his neighbor. Why? But shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil, meaning take their goods, right? Because of the lack of bread for great tribulation. Because a famine is slowly happening and it's going to get worse. A famine is what? A lack of food supply. And then also, pursuing the Amos, the 8th chapter, verses 11 and 12, you're going to have a famine of the word because there won't be no internet. You won't be able to communicate with people so freely. So that's what's going to happen. So people is going to be afraid. They're going to be panicking, You don't know what the hell is going to happen during this time. So now let's get this. This is 2nd Ezra 16 and 21. Behold, victuals, right? Which, what does that mean? It just pretty much means food or provisions. All right? As you can see here, those are the synonyms. So it says, behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth. And that's how it was back in the days before inflation and hyperinflation. right? It says, cheap upon the earth, that they shall think themselves to be in a good case. Because America, they experienced economic collapses 2008, 2013, and they thought that they would recover. But now, as you've seen, as the years have went on, it's not recovering. Things is getting worse. You see the gas prices going up. America is going through inflation before it turns into hyperinflation. Things are getting worse. So it says, be in a good case, and even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. This is what's happening. So you people, you trust in the government, you thought everything was good, but then sudden destruction cometh upon you. That's why I read those scriptures earlier. It says, for many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish. You know what it means to perish? Meaning you're going to die. Of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. So that's what's going to happen. Mass death upon the people. All right. Spirits of vengeance is going to be released on you people. That's what's going to happen. Because you reject the word of the Lord. You reject Yahweh's prophets. Yahweh's prophets. So that's the consequence. All right. It says, and the dead shall be cast out as dung. You know what dung is. And there shall be no man to comfort them. And the Lord is going to take his prophets off of the street during this time. Because he loves us. But you people he don't like. He's going to destroy you. It says, for the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down. That's what's going to happen. All right. So, that's pretty much it. I just want to go into inflation and hyperinflation real quick. It says hyperinflation is a term to describe rapid, excessive, and out of control general price increases in an economy, while inflation is a measure of the pace of rising prices for goods and services. Hyperinflation is rapidly rising inflation, typically measuring more than 50% per month. And that's why I read 2nd Ezra 16:71, dealing with the inflation and hyperinflation. So Lord willing, you was edified. Lord willing, I don't get a strike for this video. Shalom.